They say that nothing you delete from any device is truly erased, and I guess it's got something to do with how all that electronic data is stored. All those little zeros and ones captured somewhere deep within the digital brains of all the devices we just can't live without these days. That's how I rationalised it at first, just little zeros and ones that didn't know when it was time to be done with their work. But now I know better, and now I want answers. Like, what to do when all that stuff captured and stored away in a binary code won't stop haunting ya. What to do right now as I sit here, my heart is beating so hard it hurts, staring at the screen of my new-to-me smartphone. My eyes are glued to this screen, to the face staring back at me. The display times out once again, and once again I begin staring at the cabinet over the fridge where I keep the liquor. Not the wine and beer. Those are in their respective homes in the wine cooler and the fridge, but it's my cabinet that holds the good stuff, the hard stuff. Kind of stuff you need when your heart is beating so hard it hurts. Because the thing of it is, I can't move. Because I don't know what or who is here with me, trying to talk to me or what they'll do next. Yesterday I was sure it was all random weirdness. 3 days ago I thought the guys over at the store had lied when they said that the phone was refurbished. The day before that I thought I was responsible, user error and all that. But I know better now. It wasn't some kind of user error, not mine or the geeks at the phone store. And here I am staring at the cabinet that I don't have the guts to open. The microwave's digital display tells me I've been doing this for almost 2 hours, sitting in this chair in the kitchen with my hand clutched around the phone. I switch hands, stretching and bending my stiff fingers. I don't put the phone down though. It's this apartment, 700 square feet of nothing but me and far too much time to think. Oh, take a staycation, they said. It'll be relaxing, they said, and the first 2 days were perfect. I was up late until Netflix had nothing more to offer me, and sleeping in followed by coffee, lots of coffee, then a trip to my local phone store to get a new-to-me smartphone. My little vacation, my little staycation treat. I hate getting new technology, it just takes forever to transfer all the stuff from the old device to the cloud to the new device. I don't care what the geeks tell you, there's no magic that transforms that into a smooth and fast process. Then you've got all those apps to download and log into all over again. No better time to deal with all that hassle than a staycation. It didn't take all week, but it took the better part of 2 days. 2 days of messing around, and finally it was squared away just the way I like it. Notifications, sounds assigned, preferences selected, accounts linked. Nothing left to do but chill and enjoy the rest of my time off. On day 3, I opened my eyes to the sight of my perfect phone. Little blue notification light blinking happily, as if welcoming me to the day. I read a text from my brother, an email from my mum, and bless her, she's never quite grasped the idea of texting. I watch a few YouTube videos, and before getting out of bed for a shower, while the water was heating up, I got a new notification. Someone sent me an image. I swore at the screen because no name was associated with the message, which is really annoying, and it also meant I had missing contacts. Then I noticed the ID. It was just a random string of numbers and letters. Letters? I hit the line, swiped the screen, and I was treated to a picture of... What the hell is that? I muttered, squinting. It looked like someone had taken a picture of their own head while bent over. Maybe it was a screenshot from a hairstyling tutorial, though how they thought they'd teach anyone anything in a dark room was beyond me, and I wasn't in any need of any hairstyling videos, being a bloke with short hair, so I promptly deleted the message. Whatever, I'm not interested. So after my shower, there were 3 more texts waiting for me with 3 more images, and they all looked to be from the same collection, but this time more poorly lit, pixelated hair. Though the last one showed something different, a slash of red in one pale corner of the picture. So I delete. I went back to my sofa where I enjoyed a brief Facebook session, responding to a post from last Friday's happy hour, complete with photo evidence. I didn't like that. It wasn't the best shot of me. I could have asked Taylor from the office to take the picture down, but he wouldn't. If he found out that image of a clearly drunken me bothered me, he'd add a few more crappy shots just for kicks. Before I could close down the app, my finger accidentally hit the icon to attach an image. It brought me to the gallery, which I started to back out of, but then I froze. I had pictures, lots of pictures, 37 to be exact, in my newly refurbished, supposedly pristine, don't worry, you'll never know it was used before phone. Those geeks in the phone shop. I really hate salespeople. While Netflix was cycling through a series of trailers for films I'd never be bothered to watch, I scrolled through these thumbnails preparing to delete all in one big data dump. And you know what, I remember I was never good at college biology, but something came back to me right then, something about how the sensory organs are hardwired to the part of our brains that kick off the stress response, fight or flight. My professor called it the lizard brain. Even before I knew what I was looking at, something in my brain, my lizard brain, was already deciphering the pictures and sending out primitive signals to my body. Some of it was recognition because there are more of the familiar hair pictures, but recognition wasn't solely responsible for the chill that crept over me. These weren't all pixelated blurs. I saw people, women, young women, and a few young men just standing there, looking at the camera. No smiles, no expressions at all. They shared one similarity. It was the eyes. They were all too wide, too glazed, too shadowed. I couldn't stop looking because the eyes seemed to look back at me, gazing into my soul, pleading. It was at that point I determined I'd been watching far too much Haunting of Hill House, and I was simply freaking myself out. No more, I'm done. I forced myself to back out of the display mode, return to the thumbnail mode, and hit the button that allowed me to select all. Info dump complete. And then the pictures came back. What did I do? I had to have screwed up, never actually deleted the pics at all in the first place. What was going on? It was me, I messed up, that's what I told myself, and I believed it until the pictures then came back again after I deleted them again. If I hadn't gone into the gallery to double check that the files were truly gone, I would have thought that I messed it up for a third time, but I did double check, and I knew I'd done it right. The pictures were back again, but this time instead of 37 images I had 58, they were multiplying. I scrolled through, moving from the hair to the eyes to the new images of the same dozen or so faces. Some were similar to the original portraits, others were different, very different. Instead of still, piercing gazes, these showed me scenes of action, of movement, of running, of hiding. A thin woman cowering in the dark corner with just one beam of light on her. A small but bright enough beam to make her squint, bright enough to ignite a gleam of red at her hairline. In the right-hand corner, a shadow of fingers interrupted the scene, and I could tell the hand was holding something. One image remained, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to see it. I wouldn't look. I'd just delete the lot and be done with them. I swiped left. In this shot, the camera had been lowered, cutting off all of the female subject, except her legs and feet, and revealing more of the photographer, who did indeed hold something in one hand. I still couldn't tell what it was, but then it was metal, silver, and it glinted. Hang on a minute. The next day, after deleting the same 58 pictures 2 more times, I thought, sod it, I returned to the phone store. I got explanations, I got hypothesis, I even got apologies, and a free car charger for my troubles, but I got no solutions. You can do a factory reset, the kid behind the counter told me. How about a new phone, I said. I'll have to ask my manager, but he's not here right now. Do you want to leave it with us? And what am I supposed to do in the meantime, mate? Poor kid only shrugged. Look, it's not your fault, but just have your manager call me as soon as possible, alright? At home, I couldn't stop checking the gallery. It had been exactly 2 hours and 17 minutes since I last cleared the folder. 2 hours and 18 minutes, then 19, then 20. Maybe it had finally worked, finally stuck. No more disturbing intrusions, and I can go back to watching disturbing fiction on TV and enjoy the rest of my staycation. Then it happened at 2 hours and 47 minutes. 130 pictures awaited me. With a trembling finger I scrolled. I learned a few things over the course of the next hour. Those people, they were all victims. The photographer, he killed them. And of course that thing that glinted in the corner of image number 36, it was a knife. The photographer was skilled with both his camera and his blade. And then you know what? I just threw up in my kitchen garbage can. And then as I leaned over the sink, drinking right from the tap, a sound made me jump. I only smashed my teeth against the metal faucet. I rubbed my lips against my incisors, trying to figure out if I chipped any, and then I braved for once over with my tongue. My enamel appeared to be intact, but the sound was still jabbing me. The phone, just a phone. Someone was calling me. Oh, it had to be my mother. Almost no one else I knew bothered with calls anymore. And it had been over a week since she last checked to make sure I was still alive. Reaching for a glass in the cabinet, I was done risking dental injury for the sake of hydration. I hit the connect button. There was a bit of static. Hello, Mum. The static turned to a sharp microphone feedback streak, making me jerk the phone away from my throbbing eardrum. What the hell's going on? Looking at the display, it wasn't my mum. I just saw another string of letters and numbers, which were the only indication of my caller's identity. Carefully, I moved the phone closer to my ear, and then I even thought better of that, opting for the speaker mode instead. Then silence greeted me. The timer counted up, which meant that the call was still connected, but no one so much as breathed on the other end. Hello, I said and waited. Look, whoever you are, stop calling me and stop messing around with my phone. It was probably some hacker, some troll, maybe even that kid from the phone store, or just some other idiot having fun. You know, one of the staff having fun with the customers. I was about to end the call and then a voice stopped me. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Her words were far away, like she was talking from the other side of the room. She wasn't whispering, but speaking in a hush of sound, trying to be heard but wanting to be quiet. Hello, I said, who's this? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me? Instead of her response, the line was full of voices, whispers and shouts and screams. I couldn't make out any one message, but it was like a terror choir. Leave me alone, I said, and then I just threw the phone into the sink and the call ended. I was alone in my silent apartment. On shaky legs, I backed from the sink and something crunched underfoot. I hadn't even heard the glass I'd been holding smash to the tile and shatter. It continued like that all day, more images filling my gallery, 141, 150, 155. I went to bed that night with my cell phone set to silent, but the notifications went off anyway, so I put it on airplane mode, and that didn't work. Finally, I turned the phone off, and then in moments I fell into deep sleep of the utterly exhausted. I woke up, it must have been a little after 3 in the morning, to the sound of screaming next to my head. Bolting up, I reached for the light, but I let my hand fall because a light was already blazing and flickering in the dark of my room. The film was streaming on my cell phone. It was the woman, the one I saw spotlighted as she cowered in a corner. The video showed what happened after that moment. It showed what the glinting object was and what the hand that welded it used it for. When it was over, it started again automatically. I couldn't even move my paralysed limbs to stop it until halfway through the third playback. Then I shut it off by throwing it across the room. Even before it landed, the phone began ringing. As it bounced off the wall, the video sound cut out, and then new sounds filled my shadowy room. Help me, help me, help me, help me. The voices were back, not just the woman's, but all of them. All of the voices of all the faces in all of the photos that wouldn't stop haunting my phone, haunting me. They screamed and cried and begged and laughed, and at times I thought I heard a warning mixed in. I don't know how long it lasted, all I know that it ended eventually and I woke up to sunlight streaming through the gaps in my curtains. That was this morning. The first thing I did was plug in my phone, and when it powered up, I did what the guy in the phone store suggested days ago, factory reset. The next thing I did, I got back into my bed, but I couldn't sleep though, even though the room was silent. The scream still echoed and tore through my head. Help me. So I got up and returned to the kitchen where I'd left the phone plugged in. But I know what you're thinking. I should have just thrown the damn thing away, carried it out to the street, lifted the lid of the nearest garbage can and dumped it right in. But even after my hellish night, there was a part of me that couldn't believe it and couldn't quite grasp that these terrible things I'd seen and heard could be real. And it was all over now anyway, because I wiped that puppy clean. I turned my cell back on and went through all the steps one goes through with a reset phone. I entered my name, chose my preferred language. I didn't bother with contacts or accounts or Facebook or any of that noise. I never had time. Without warning, the text notification sounded. I stood there counting the bleeps, counted all the way up to 177 and then beyond. It finally ended on 199. Once again I should have thrown the phone away, but I didn't. Instead I sat down at the kitchen table. I looked through the photos one at a time, from the first all the way to the last, as if I was compelled to see the end of a story I'd already seen the beginnings of. I sat there until my legs grew numb and my heart began to beat so fast it hurt. I sat here wanting a drink but unable to move, alone in my kitchen, staring at my cabinet of booze. And then the final image came through, image number 199. The one that smiles back instead of screaming, the one full of gloating happiness, eyes crinkled in a grin that's almost a laugh. Oh yeah, like many of the faces that have haunted me the last few days. This guy's face is also streaked with red, but he doesn't seem to mind. Even though it's the least gruesome, image number 199 is the hardest to look at. Maybe it's that blood-splattered glee, maybe it's the almost laugh, or maybe it's the way his eyes crinkle at the corners. I think it's something else. It's hardest to look at because there's something familiar about this. There's something familiar about it. And that's why I can't seem to do anything but actively avoid the man's gaze, only to cave in moments later, allowing it to lure me in again. What is it about his face? There's something about his face. A Facebook notification interrupts my thoughts and I almost don't hear it. I almost don't respond to it. But I can't keep doing this, keep obsessing over this phone and the message it's failing to communicate to me. I have to live my life. So I go on Facebook even as a distant part of my brain tries to remind me that I never logged onto Facebook after rebooting the phone. Oh, it's Taylor again, commenting on drunk me at happy hour. Suddenly it's all too much, the lack of sleep, the gruesome images, all of it. I can't deal with Taylor on top of all of that. I search the display for any way to remove the picture or report it or to do anything. And all I do is I manage to just drop the phone. Sighing, I rub my eyes as I retrieve it from where it landed near my feet. Is the picture really that bad? Who even cares? Who's going to look at it? So what if I look like a drunk fool in one of the gazillion pictures on Facebook? And you know what? None of the other people in the picture look all that great either. Taylor is clearly sloshed and our boss, Sue, she's laughing like she's halfway there anyway. And the only sober looking one in the bunch is the guy behind me. A stranger standing at my left elbow. And there it is. My heart, which had slowed down, suddenly lurches. I can't believe it, so I go back and check, jumping from the happy hour pictures to image number 199. It can't be, but it is. They're the same guy. There is that same smile, the same crinkles at the corner of the same eyes. All that's missing is the blood crusting his lips and that other splash of red near his chin. It's him, the killer. That's the man who caused all the screams and the tortured souls and the images on my phone. They're all dead and he's still alive and well, and frequenting our favourite happy hour spot, which is less than 2 miles from my apartment where I am now. They say that nothing is ever truly erased from any device, and they never talk about the kinds of things you can capture with those devices, about what to do when what you delete comes back, and even the guys in the phone shop can't banish them. No one says what you should do when you are the bearer of secrets and you're so afraid, too afraid to get a drink from a bottle 10 steps away. My phone goes dark, not from the display timing out, but from its battery dying. It doesn't matter now, I know they're not gone. The data spirits that haunt me from the other side of the digital ether. When they want me, they know how to find me, and maybe if I'm lucky, they'll tell me what I'm supposed to do next. I can't help but think that what I'm supposed to do next is to stop him, stop the stranger with the happy grin who likes to drink at dive bars on Friday nights, but that's not what kept me checking my phone over and over all day until the battery died. What kept me checking was not knowing if there'll be an image number 200. And if there is, whose face would it reveal? I get up, hobble on pins and needle feet to my charger and plug in the phone. Like last time, there's a text notification. Unlike last time, there's just one new message and one new image. It's image number 200. It won't be mine, it can't be mine. I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm okay. And in a minute, I'll get that drink, but first I'll let my trembling finger touch down on the screen, because seeing is better than not knowing. Or so I thought. I've just launched my new merchandise designs on the Redbubble platform. The link to my online store is below this video.